maybe that's not true.
Document it.
Maybe we can do something about it. If we can wake them up to what's happening and how badly they're being used, how they're trespassing
Anyway,
every turn on our constitutional natural rights. Maybe we can find out if they've actually got a conscience and will quit what is being done. Okay? That's the goal of this kind of thing, is peaceful, lawful education, and what we have here this morning is lawful assembly, so protected under, I keep this around my neck because this is how I establish restraint on alienation. That's what no trespassing means. It is a restraint on alienation, means if you're the bearer of this sign, I am restrained from alienating you from your natural rights to not be trespassed upon. I have to uphold your right to be left alone. Go your way in peace. This I carry my Constitution in. Pardon me. The trouble with being natural is it gets too natural sometimes.
Get a hair in the mouth.
Okay, so what we're doing here today, seeing as how the seating has all been rearranged, I don't want people's legs to go to aching. We'll have to speak loud, the traffic's bad, but this is the location, and here we are. Okay, this is your 1789 Constitution. What we're after here is, do we have a Constitution in our country or not? Or can we see it and never get to it? Is access to this Constitution guaranteed rights that begin not only within the body but at the back towards the amendments of it, the first one of 10 through which are common law amendments, not civil law. Civil is a separate jurisdiction. Common law is you and I, we the people. Civil is for persons. Military is for persons. Common law is for sovereigns. The word sovereign, you must comprehend. Much evilry has been done to that good and honorable word in our time. The word sovereign, if you research the proper history and the linguistics of it, you will be taught, as I have been, that it's a three-part word written out of order. The EIGN is actually a kind of a messed up Scottish word, ain, A-I-N, and it means one and only one, and it has the value of ownership. The V-E-R that you see slightly before the EIGN goes to the Latin, the word veritas. It means verification, veritas means truth. So you have truth and one. The so retains the English value of so it is. It is finished. It is complete. Its ionization. It is the circle is finished. The evidence within it is irrefutable and no man can argue it down. If you are a proper citizen, beware the word proper, of the 1789 constitutional de jure American Republic, you, by force of that contract in here, are a sovereign. You are one so verified, so truthfully known as to be a citizen of that de jure republic. No other form on the land or at sea has the de jureness of actual common law. That's why different jurisdictions have been established for those who are in the military upon the land or those who are in military or commerce upon the sea. The problem, you see, the crux of the problem has been that circa 1880, the Barristers Association has worked in colludance to conspire against all the American sovereigns to create a massive plan, a military program called the Naval Program A2/A, should be a colon, D for denied, to create this program wherein they use martial law of the sea to deny you, the land-dwelling people, access to your common law rights. This is what's going on, and this is why you will see Coast Guard out here on the dry land in Montana, Coast Guard running around enforcing policy, statute, and code. They cannot enforce law, for the law of the sea does not supersede the law of the land. The law of the land is above the law of the sea. The idea of the law of the sea, I'm going to zip my vest here a minute, the wind is kind of messing with me and I need my hands moved. The law of the sea is what is identified, or the idea of it, is identified in Black's Fifth as fiction. It is a fairy tale. I would like for the camera to pan this. Fiction of law. Now, get your own books, do your own research, do your own homework. Do not do as I do. Don't try this at home, and definitely don't try it without supervision. You got to do the homework for yourself. Don't swallow what I or blacks or any of these people are telling you. Go after the truth for yourself. Do the good work of the study and earn your place amongst the sovereigns known as Americans, we the people on the land. Black's Fifth makes the claim that fiction cannot arise from the law. The law cannot create fiction. If law cannot create fiction, such fictions being identified in all capital letters called codes, statutes, registrations, driver's license, you name it, all the license, all the commercial entities, regulations and policies. That's what fiction is. Actual law says that unless you have contracted away your natural rights of common law from here, unless you've signed a contract, if you give away or sell or trade or lease out or loan out or abdicate out of fear or whatever reason any of your common law rights, you can be found guilty of treason. This is a will. You and I are called sons of the Republic. Okay? As proper sons of the Republic, we have far more than heirdom. Black's Fifth will back me on this. It's a Latin phrase that says son is a name of natural law, but heir is a name created as a fiction of law. If you are a son of the Republic, you are far beyond an heir. If you are a son of God, or those who call themselves sons of Yahweh, or sons of whatever, they are claiming that they are far beyond an heir. As a son, it is in your bloodstream to have and to hold, like a marriage ceremony, the elements of common law so listed within your Constitution. Okay? It is up to you to not defile this marriage. Not by fraudulent contract, not by voluntarism, not in any way. You are charged as an American son of the Republic to uphold and forfend. Beware the word defend, it is a trick word. Why would you weaken your platform? The DE is there to trick you into weakening your own self right off the bat. You are charged to forfend everything in here that was fought over and good people far better than me died for to get it, to add the elements of what they had gained into this trust that the law calls an estate, which then was willed to you as a son of the Republic. Do you comprehend now the weight of your position? Can you begin to comprehend now your jurisdiction? Now you have to ask yourself, any contracts I have ever signed wherein, such as a driver's license, I sold my natural guaranteed right of travel, my range of motion according to this body of supreme law of the land. Did you sell that right? If you have, then the sale would be recorded in the appearance of purchasing a driver's license. That is actually a chargeable, treasonable offense. Just in itself, the Republic already has become the body of common law for the sovereigns, now harmed by such a backstabbing activity. Is it possible that the events of the Revolutionary War of the 1770s were fought just to give us all of this so that we could just sell it and then buy it back or lease it back as privileges and benefits? No, it was willed to you, to each one of you, and you are absolutely admonished by the will of your forefathers in here to never, ever, ever let go of them. They fought and died for those rights. Who are you to sell them? Who are you to lease them out and then lease it back or buy it back? Who are you to loan it out? It is yours. They died for each one of you. Yeah? This is on all of us. Now, who are we to give it away when we're approached by an artificial corporation under what is called color of law? When the sovereign citizen, from Federal Judge Rodney Dale Class, who lays this out, when the sovereign citizen is approached by an artificial fiction of law that the law cannot create, did not create, and that has no backing as law, approaches you and tells you you are under arrest because you are driving without a license. An investigation is called for. The investigation must take place in the form of competent questions and answers and can only be conducted by mature individuals of the jury. Okay? The state is a corporation, in all caps, just like Black's Law Dictionary. Does a corporation have a voice? You ever heard Exxon speak? It's in all caps. There's a corporation. Have you ever heard Exxon speak? Show me the speeches made by Exxon. Are we saying it can't speak? Are we saying the Eureka Police Department, which is listed in all capital letters, incorporated via state of Montana via a series of frauds that took place December of 1889, in which organic status was actively denied back to the area? The territorial citizens who were under the District of Columbia at that time applied for statehood based on the Equal Footings Act of 1793. They were supposed to be guaranteed entrance into this union on the Equal Footings Act, that they would have full organic status. Yes, there would be corporate civil jurisdiction. Yes, there would be militarized jurisdiction. But the boundaries are clearly drawn, and they are non-transgressible. Neither the military nor the corporate supersede the sovereign, and any attempt by lower jurisdictions to trespass, as my sign, to violate that restraint on obligation, which I've got buried in my stuff here, to violate it constitutes an act of treason. These are deadly serious offenses. Too often we find ourselves in situations where we have friends and family who are involved in drawing paychecks off of this. They're our acquaintances, they're good people. They probably don't know anything about how they've been rooked either. Nobody hardly ever researches history. I would advise everybody, seeing as how people always tell me, can you make it simple, can you make it simple? I would advise all of you to go on Amazon, if Amazon is still carrying this book, authored by Anna von Reitzinger of Alaska. Purchase this book, pay the price, open it up. She has done a masterful job of doing what I struggle to do, which is to make 150 years of fraud incredibly simple. She chose to present the truth in a cartoonish form to keep the element of life and humor within it. I struggle with getting it done because I comprehend the piracies that we're actually facing. Now, the missing 13th Amendment. Have you ever heard of it? So nobody here has ever heard of the missing 13th Amendment. I'm going to try to stand that up so that my hands don't shake it. The camera needs to get a full view of this. Then comprehend the terminology which is governed by the information that you can find in that document called the Three United States. The way you break apart, like decoding, the way you break apart this kind of information is by comprehending just what United States are you from. It is your jurisdiction or it is a sub-jurisdiction. If you, the sovereign, enter into these sub-jurisdictions, it regards and it takes the sale of your natural, unalienable rights that cannot be alienated away from you. It is the will of your forefathers. Okay? To violate the will of your fathers brings what? What happened to you when you made your dad mad? Anybody here ever get a good old-fashioned spanking? Well, I certainly got my share of them for making my dad mad. The spanking that's in here is called treason. And it is a capital offense to commit an act of treason against a son of the Republic when the one committing the treasonous act does not have de jure jurisdiction. When juridica is challenged, jurisdiction is challenged, the actor who is now acting as if they have actual jurisdiction must instantly cease and desist, recuse themselves from such activity of pursuing the wrongful glory, and immediately pass it off to a more qualified authority to hear the case. This is what I'm pressing for. There are in our town two good people who do not know this knowledge, who have one who has actively worked to stop my life up because he has seceded from this union of the Republic by contract. Okay? His name is Clinton Grimes. I bear him no ill will. He is a local deputy. I'm pretty sure that Clinton would cease and desist what he's doing if he had a proper education. The other actor, who I bear no ill will, is Stormy Langston. She is the municipal administrator through the glass right behind me. And as a municipal administrator, has no actual jurisdiction. She is not a judge and cannot lay claim to it. She is a town clerk whose office and title is that of rent gatherer and fee gatherer. If you violate municipal code, statute, policy, if you're not of the jurisdiction of the Republic, then you have to pay those. If you are of the jurisdiction of the corporation, or you're of the jurisdiction of the law of the sea, then you have to pay that fine because you sold your right to be left alone. You see how this works now? Any questions on this? I realize this is information like nobody knows. And so people are commonly stymied. Well, you know, what kind of a question we're going to ask to that? But feel free. I'm not a god. I'm just a piece of living dirt who's learned how to read and put two and two together. And so here we are today. I'm not speaking for you. I'm not speaking as you. I'm speaking with you. You get it? To use the words of Captain Jack Sparrow, you savvy? That's the deal. We have a voice. It is here. It's your jurisdiction. That's your voice. That is the law that speaks for you. When you open this up, that's the body. It has appendages. It has arms. It has its own sight. It has its own voice. And if you speak against the voice that's in here, you will render yourself into a very dangerous position and standing. So, at the beginning of the Civil War, a plan was put into play to cause secedence from the 1789 jurisdiction. That plan was a brainchild of the Barristers Association, all 67,000 of them, because they sold their right to not be prosecuted by a corporation that is known as the United States in all capital letters. I'm looking here a moment for my one notice. I buried it under blacks. I want you to pay attention. When you violate your natural common law sovereign jurisdiction and you begin to engage, you are forced into what is on my clipboard. Now all of us here know that impersonation is a capital crime. I believe the sentence called for is 20 years in jail with a multi-thousand-dollar fine, either separately or both together. Okay? That's the potential for the elements who are committing this trespass against my natural right of travel, my range of motion, as proscribed in this document, which is my body of law. To do all this, they have joined by contract into the secession from the Union. Now they are found in treasonous standing. When you secede from this Union, you have breached your own jurisdiction and are in grave danger. I'll go through these flashcards here a minute. So when this begins to happen, what I have to do is I have to say, well, we're on to them. By what authority, Clinton Grimes and Stormy Langston, are you doing these things? Reveal your jurisdiction. And if your jurisdiction is not that of the common law as pertains to a sovereign creative citizen, then you are indeed in trespass, and that trespass has another T called a treasonous activity behind it. Highly punishable. Highly punishable. I would advise that Mr. Grimes and Ms. Langstrom wake up to this, cease and desist, recuse themselves immediately, drop this, let it go, and I would recommend that the state of Montana, which is a corporation that has a sub-jurisdiction to the common law body of law right there, put a do not detain behind my name and notify all of its agents and principals to leave me alone. I seek no harm to anyone. I seek peace to go my own way, to conduct farming the way that I conduct farming. But when they don't, that's where I start. Evidentiary authority, bring it forward. Some people say, provide your oath. I have found the oath to be all hollow. Their oath not to my body of common law. Their oath to corporate code, statute, policy, and regulation. It is a sub-jurisdiction, and you cannot contract with it if you wish to retain your full rights. Either you own your rights or you sold them. Which have you done? There's already evidence afoot. The good thing for you is this. Let this cane go by. The good thing about those kind of contracts is this. When fraud is uncovered, as I'm showing you here now, you're beginning to see it uncovered. When fraud is uncovered in a contract, the terms of that contract and the enforcement mechanisms within it become null and void, cease and die immediately. They cannot lawfully enforce, they cannot lawfully claim, it's over. Their jurisdiction has been found to be less than your body of law as a sovereign citizen, and their claims are rendered all hollow in here called fiction. And law cannot produce fiction. Law produces the truth. Codes produce fiction. Okay. So, then from quo warranto we go to de jure. De jure. Actual jurisdiction. Your jurisdiction is not de jure. If it's anything less than that, no de jureness can be claimed. It is sub, because the sovereigns of this jurisdiction, the de jure jurisdiction, are the creators as kings, like royalty was the idea and the claims. We, the people, created the elements of the monster that now is terrorizing its creator. Completely out of hand, a rogue entity. Okay? It has no de jure-ness. From there, we're going to go to corpus delicti. The Latin language is how you undo the English. The anglicized sacking ones of 8 AD were a brutal group of mongrels on the land who had a very limited vocabulary and had no symbolic expression that you would call a phonetical system or an alphabet. When they began the overthrows of Rome, which was basing itself upon the Latin, a usurpation of the highly brilliant Latin alphabet was engaged into, but the English took those symbols, turned them upside down and inside out, and the value of each symbol as put together in a word or a phrase was also inverted and obverted. So that now in the English, when you read the Latin word justice, in which you think nobody's above justice, equal justice for all, right? Isn't that what it says? Equal justice for all. Then pray tell, how come there's so much fraud upon the land, backed by the Catholicized system, endurant of several overthrows within itself, in which justice has become blindfolded to the events? And our elected officials and our appointed representatives and our officials that hold office as a title of nobility and then accept perks and kickbacks and emoluments and gifts and presents from all those on the outside, which is against what this Constitution says. It's against it. It says thou shalt not. When you're holding an office of profit or trust under the United States, wait, you say, which United States? It has to be the Republic or there is no law. And that leads us to the problem of no law. We look around upon our land that used to be lawful and creative, and we see it in a state of meltdown and destruction. Who led us to this? Who bound our hands? Who put gag orders on we the people and said lawful assemblies are now an act of terrorism? What impersonative judge in their right mind stands up behind the bench in that unhallowed black robe, that robe of death, and says, your Constitution, your body of law is supreme on the land, is not allowed in my court? That, sir, is a hangable offense. The utterance of those very words is a hangable offense as a capital punishment to the commission of a treasonous and capital crime. That book backs me. Do you have a Constitution or don't you? And where are you at in it? You, the people, have got to study it and wake up to where you're at. It either is the power of your life or the destruction and ruination of your life. Either you own your name and you hold it in freehold status as I do, having gone against them and seized my name back away from the slave lords. Now I'm free to contract with who I choose and not contract with who I choose. I'm free to not violate the terms of my common law jurisdiction. I'm free utterly to uphold it. There are no extant contracts wherein full disclosure is discovered. It's not so. The state, the county, the federal cannot offer you a contract that does not have fraud in it. They are fraud personified. Notice the word person. They are fraud personified. Corporations were forbidden governance of our land. Therefore, the overthrow, as commissioned in 1861, that culminated in 1871, producing a different charter that they called the Constitution of the United States for America in all capital letters, which is called engrossment, which puts it right into the slave language. of the capitis maxima diminutio, reducing it to the speech of a slave and having no more than that. Now, when such a corporation begins to speak to you as a slave, how much validity do you give a slave? How do you get to be a slave? Did he sell his right to not be a slave and now is enduring corporate chains? Yes, that's what happened. We were frauded into the sale, the repurchasing, the leasing out, the leasing back, the trading away on Wall Street. Okay? Stocks and bonds. We are in public shame. Stocks and bonds. The old time. Think old time. Much older than you normally think. Stocks and bonds for public shame, and we the people stand here in public ashamed of realizing we sold our rightful inheritance as sons of the Republic. And that sale is recorded every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Securitized, monetized, commercialized. Millions, billions, trillions made on us being frauded out of our natural rights. This is how the fraudulent national debt that is not your debt, get that book and get a quick education, is generated. It's not your debt. The problem is that in the secedents that we've already talked about and in this collusion and conspiratorial overthrow, your body is the land. You are the public landmass. Your name is the title to it, like a title to a field. Okay? Do you own your title to your field, or did you sell it? Was there fraud in the sale? The contract that you signed? If so, that contract is null and void, hollow instantly. It has no enforcement mechanisms in it. It is nothing more than code, statute, and policy regulations. And the good officers in the police stations, the sheriff's departments, many of the government offices are staffed with people who haven't got a clue that it's all about overthrowing you, the public land mass. Each one of your bodies having mass. You're the mass. It's your name brought into title dispute in a bank that you think is a government, that you think is a courthouse. Your mental competency to own your own name in freehold status, your mental capacity to contract with whomever you would contract or to not, is utterly challenged by a stranger, very specifically in all capital letters. Here calls itself the state of Montana. The stranger lays an allegement against you that you're too stupid to own your own name and you're too ignorant to contract or not. Therefore, you need to be overthrown, taken over, and your life run for you, and you enslaved to whatever the overthrowers bring forward upon you as chains of restraint and say thou shalt not, when the book says thou shalt. Okay? So, public land overthrow, huge topic in the West, huge topic in the world. Writ of mandamus. Get my fingers out of the way. As you people view these things, tell me if I'm moving too fast for cameras. As you people see these writs, you'll notice mainly they're in Latin. This one happens to be English, except for the mandamus is mandate, mandatory, thou shalt. Fieris facias in the Latin is the ecclesiastical church claim. You will tell me what happened. You will confess, you will admit, you will repent and restore. Okay? Now, this is very powerful. A writ of mandamus is what you then file against them when they cannot answer quo warranto, when they refuse to identify de jure jurisdiction and will not show you the law. When you say, show me the law, they'll go silent and mumble about codes and statutes and policies, and no law will be discussed. They cannot answer you because they're a sub-jurisdiction. And as a sub-jurisdiction, they have no voice due to incorporateness, which was forbidden in 1789. They cannot talk to the situation. They cannot talk to you, the living man and woman of flesh and blood upon the land and not at sea. Ask yourself this question. Are you wet? Is anybody here wet? Does you see anybody around you out there wet? Are we on the dry land? Then we're on the dry land. Then who is it that's claiming we're under the law of the sea? Are you making that claim? Are we under the law of the sea? Is anybody here making that claim? We're under the law of the sea? If you are, bring forward your evidence. I want to be wet if you're going to have actual jurisdiction over me. Otherwise, beware. You have entered my kingdom, the kingdom of we the people, we the creator sovereigns, and now you're playing the part of a pirate. Well, there are methods of dealing with pirates, and we're trying the peaceful one first here by peaceful, lawful assembly, so guaranteed to we the people of the republic in the First Amendment. So guaranteed. Habeas corpus. Produce the body. Another fieris facias, a writ of mandate. You've done quo warranto. By what authority are you making this claim? Are you acting against me? Where's your authority? We're going to worry about it. We're going to answer questions and move on here. Okay? So once you've covered that, and you've gone through the de jure or the lack thereof, now then you get down to habeas corpus. If the actors, agents, and principals will not cease and desist, then you command them to produce the body of the deceased slave or the body so harmed, the corpus delicti. If the actor, agent, or principal alleges against you that they are the body so harmed, remind them that they are a sub-body of law that has no mind, no voice, no heartbeat, no speech, cannot think, no conscience, no elements of human attribute. They are things and can only interface under color of law with other things. Are you a thing? A thing is this picnic table. A thing is the stone pillar. Are you a picnic table? Are you a stone pillar? Are you a machine driving past on the land, artificially intelligent? Is that you? You have to answer, and you have to know what you are, and you need to have studied before you answer. If you deny being an artificial entity, then there's nothing. Not municipally, not statutorily, not codification, not regulation, there's nothing that applies to you except actual common law. Common law requires the evidence of actual harm to be brought forward. Whoever's accusing you has to evidence actual harm, or go silent, or face heavy-duty charges of military aggression upon you when there's no evidence of harm. This is the deal. I asked Officer Grimes, where's the harm? Produce a body of harm. Are you claiming that you're the one harmed? You're speaking as if you were the face of the state, correct? He said yes. I said, is the state a living entity? No, it's a corporation. Oh my gosh, it's a sub-corporation with a sub-jurisdiction that cannot experience harm. The state is a corporation. If I walk over and I do something violent to the Exxon store, will it bleed? If I kick the wall behind me, will it cry out in pain or fear? No. But if I kick you, will you? Well, then I guess you're not a corporation. You must be what is identified as organic, the living body of law. The living body of law that is unchangeable unless you choose to contract away your natural, unalienable rights, which jeopardizes your very own position as a son of the American Republic. You can be the country. You hear me? Right there, the missing 13th Amendment. You can be the country because you contracted away your rights when you were charged to never be that. Okay. Habeas corpus, produce the body. I've got as much time as anybody wants to go. I don't even have to walk through that door today, or ever if I choose not to. Fiction of law. We covered it a little bit earlier. Fiction of law is called color of law. Color of law and fiction of law has its own language. Speaking of a law system that cannot speak, such language is called legalese. It is the reference I made to the fact that the English inverted the Latin, turned it upside down, inverted, obverted the meanings of each individual symbol with it, and hollowed out all the truth of the Latin. Then operated for the next number of centuries on the Latin, while denying the people in church to know what it was the priests were actually saying. It's only been the last few years that the priests have actually revealed what was being said in Latin in the church, okay? Do you know what they're saying to you in English? When I say laws to you in English, what do you think of? What's your thought? Do you think of this? All laws? Do you think of the symbol of the silhouette of blind justice? What do you think of? My mind, because I've studied these things, instantly goes into terms of art. Let's look here a minute at laws. Oh, there's your word justice. I'll flip over to laws here in just a minute. Right of law. Justice to these municipal corporations. Justice to the admiralty courts, which are flying the standard of sea war upon you while you're standing dry upon the land, notifying you through your eyes by having a standard in court beside them that has the appearance, the color of law. You think it's old glory, but it's got a gold braid around it. That is the toffletry, the golden chains on the British officers at sea, the admiralty officers, applied to colors of law. And you are expected to fall for it and believe that and uphold whatever that says when it is a jurisdiction that has nothing to do with you unless you sold your rights. And now you got to buy them back as a privilege. When you start to have to buy back that which you naturally inherited as a good son, you have reduced your standing to the max and punishment will not go forward. You're going to get a spanking. Spanking has a variety of methods to it. They get off with paying fines and fees, marks of shame. Not according to this. The spanking in here is very dramatic and very long term. Laws, I said. Look, here's your legalese document. Film that. You want to know why they get away with this crap? How they deprive you. They simply bar your access to your area. That's your area. This right here is your area. That in there will bar you access to your proper jurisdiction. That's your area. How are you, as a sovereign son of the American Republic, a full son, more than an heir to everything that's gifted to you in here, how are you going to make them deal with you when this is what they're hiding behind? Church above law. Church above all. The lady who penned this book has made the allegement that Pope Francisco retains the jurisdiction of the air. Jurisdiction of the air, it is claimed, starts at the 20-foot up mark, that everything within and above that is the property of Rome. Therefore, because it's over and above and there's water in it, the bar goes further to make the claim that the law of the waters of the heavenly, the sea up there, is over the land down here. Law of the sea over law of the land. Okay? This ties into the old phrase of the immovable object meeting with the unstoppable force. The immovable object is right here. It's land law. That's the immovable object, and your immovable object is not to be removed from it. You don't breach it your own self, and you don't allow breach to occur in it. You are an American. You're a son of the Republic, a child of that estate. You got these rights as a direct, posteriorly aligned filial descendant. It is yours. But if you don't claim it, they will take it, and indeed already have. You're going to have a fight on your hands just to get back that which you always had. Okay? Because this lady, Anna von Reisinger, author of this book, has made the allegement that Franciscus, the Pope in Rome, governs the jurisdiction of the Eris. It means flight. I researched it into Latin and I found Greek mythology in it, as I always do. You start down my road and you'll live in Greek mythology. Get yourself a book on Bullfinch's mythology and memorize it. You'll be dealing with it in court every time you have to deal with court. Pope Francisco has been given the attribute of value as a grand phoenix. As the grand phoenix, it is his job from his high and lofty perch in Rome to have oversight of the affairs of we the rabbit people on earth, us land dwellers. He is supposed to see that no harm comes to us. I ask you, how good of a job is getting done when millions of us are being picked off by corporate raiders? Our accesses to our natural jurisdictions of common law actively being denied and withstood every second in America. People are denied. The judge will say that evidence is denied in this courtroom. For that statement from the record, you can't even say the word Constitution in my court. I had an impersonative judge named Rick West in Gallatin County. I set him up in anger to tell me twice before the faces of 40 witnesses, you can't even make sound in my court if I choose not to let you. I said, what? Say that again. And he did. He repeated it. Is that America? Do you have, in your common law, First Amendment, do you have the right of freedom of speech? Is that freedom bound somewhere? When I walk through those doors, if I decide to, and press these charges, by passing through those doors, is my voice going to be silenced? Am I going to allow it? Is the better question. What jurisdiction am I of? I'm a son of the Grand Old Republic of 1789, a fighting red-blooded American who seeks to harm no one but comprehends jurisdictional boundary and necessity of absolute adherence to it. If you violate those jurisdictional lines, the penalty can be most severe. Please, I'm begging the cops and the lawyers and the officers, the actors, the agents, and the principals, wake up. You are pirateering, profiteering, freeboating on the people, freely plundering, spoliating the evidence of your activities. Most good police have no idea how badly they are being used by corporate administrators of the municipalities. These corporate administrators have a charge laid on them to raise money for the state. This is a church, and it's going to take an offering. The offering is going to be in the form of a yellow ticket. Okay? $285 is what they want put in their offering plate. I've set it up as best I can where the United States Treasury can put that $285 in their offering plate because it has nothing to do with me. It's beneath my jurisdiction. But I am notwithstanding them. I have created an estoppel that says you want your money, there it is, you can go get it. You have to send this ticket in to the United States Treasury, which will notify the Federal Reserve they have an outstanding bill here, print off the fraudulent farthings to pay it. They'll get it back. A transmission of funds will be returned to the state of Montana, returned to Lincoln County, and in time, their CAFR fund will be improved by another $285. jurisdiction of the Eras? Who the heck does Francisco think he is? Are we the people of the land capable of governing our own self and need not to be governed from Rome? Is this America or is it not? What are you? What's your jurisdiction? Silence is not allowed. What is silence knowing? All right, I'm going to make a claim. I'm going to claim you're all corporations. That's it. You're all corporations. Because I said so. You're all corporations. Every one of you is all corporations. Are you going to rebut me or are you going to accept my allegement? I'm playing a game with you. I'm running a little psyops here. Are you a corporation?
No, sir.
Were you formed under Uniform Commercial Code? Who's your parent? Who's your father, your forefathers? Who's the mother of the Republic? What are you of? If you don't answer, silence will be what I consider to be your consent to my allegement that you're a corporation, and now I will set out to trespass upon you and violate restraints on alienation. I will restrain you by alienating access to your area of common law jurisdiction simply because I can. I'll just say, that's it. Put 3 exclamation points behind it, and you're done because I said so. This is my bank. I run it the way I want it. Are you with me? People want me to push on. Last thing, civiliter mortuus. Amongst my stuff here, I have a document that I threw in. Ah, yes, here it is. I'll lay that down and pin it. I'll close with this. I could go for days. I'll hold this up. This is a 12-page document that I created 17 months ago, and I have sent in the open-faced mail as a direct challenge to anybody out there, most particularly Governor Bullock, to beat me at a game of mental awareness and acuity in a federal courtroom. Take me right to federal court and lawfully prove me wrong. The state of Montana, has actively engaged itself into a program of spoliating your actual natural living status. They've run away with the evidence by introducing you in all corporate capital letters right back to yourself and said, no, you ain't alive, you're dead, and here's the evidence. And you never rose up and said, like, heck, I ain't dead. I'm not a slave. I'm the living natural man, a son of the Republic, and your crap doesn't have anything to do with me. Because they never heard from you, they said, well, guess what? All the American citizens are missing. Silence out there. We got silence. We said they're all corporations, and just like you guys said nothing, that's what they heard from the Americans for 150 years. But you weren't there to hear the allegement, and nobody woke you up to the fraud in the allegement to get a response out of you. So you went along with it because you didn't know not to. Does that make the contracts valid? Absolutely not. And anybody who thinks that they have validity as a result is utterly lying to themselves and to you, the Republican people. This document, I chopped up the driver's license when I saw the fraud in it. Broke down their terminology. I made my allegements on the front of their envelope. I sent it right back to them. You're free to peel through there. There's what's left of a fraudulent contract. That's called cure. I got rid of it and have no evidence of fraud on my body anywhere anymore. I carry no fraudulent contracts. You cannot find them. At a local traffic stop the other night, I utilized a state's generation of identification as the beginning evidence as to what the officer being so charged today thought I might be. I said, I'm going to force you to use that. You can use that because you're of the state and I'm not, so you're going to generate whatever you do. You're going to stay tied to that, but I'm not giving you my name. You'll not have it. You can see I've already claimed ownership of this. I've already taken it over. There it is in proper color and backed by thumbprint. I now have my name in freehold status. the ticket that I have buried in here, that if they don't close before I quit talking, that we'll go in there and have some fun with here in a minute, is not in freehold status, and nowhere on it is my signature. A signature is not an autograph. I need to make that very clear. And the word signature is a two-part word, sigil and nature. If you are the living man, living woman, the nature of your sigil, your mark, is that of the living man or woman of blood and flesh. Your autograph is the one that your hand, by your own animation, generates in whatever symbology and capital spelling or not, medius, minimus, capitis, whatever you want to do. It's your name, right? You own it. You do with it what you want. You just better have done the research ahead of time so you know what you're getting yourself into. Okay, so without an autograph, is any contract valid? Does the state, does the county, does the municipality ever present a presentment to you bearing your autograph on it? No? Why? I need an answer. Why don't they do that? Because they don't have it? You never gave it to them? No, okay. So then is there an actual contract? Oh, so there's no actual contract. Well, what happens to enforcement if there's no actual contract? It dies on the vine. It's over. No spoliative funds are going to be generated out of it. People are getting a little antsy out here and the noise is kind of overwhelming. I'm going to fold this stuff up, box it up. I've got to dig out my ticket. Any who choose when I pass through those doors can stick with me and be a witness to it, or you're free to go your